let's talk about one of the most critical assets in any commercial building, the HVAC system. It's the mechanical heart and lungs of your facility. But because it's usually out of sight, it's often out of mind. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the professional standard for keeping these vital systems clean, safe, and running efficiently.
But first, let me ask you a question. What's really circulating through your office air right at this moment? Seriously, think about it. Most of us just take the air we breathe for granted, but the answer to that question can have a huge impact on employee health, their productivity, and yeah, your bottom line.
All right, let's start by uncovering this hidden problem that could be lurking right under your nose, inside the very walls of your building. Now, this picture, it might look a little shocking, but believe it or not, this is the reality inside a lot of commercial buildings. Over the years, the HVAC system can basically become a storage depot, a reservoir for all kinds of nasty contaminants. So what are we talking about here? I mean, what's actually in there? Well, it's way more than just a little dust. You've got fibers from carpets and furniture, you've got leftover debris from construction projects, maybe even years ago. And then there's all the pollen and pollutants that get sucked in from outside. And here's the kicker. Anywhere you have moisture in that system, you've got the perfect breeding ground for mold, fungi, and bacteria. And look, this is not just some housekeeping issue. This hidden problem comes with very real, very tangible costs. In fact, ignoring it can affect everything from your team's health right down to the company's financial performance. When it comes to the health of the people inside, the complaints usually fall into two big buckets. First, you've got what's called sick building syndrome, or SBS. You've probably heard of it. That's when people get headaches, feel tired, or have irritated eyes only when they're in the building, but you can't pinpoint one single cause. But then there's the much more serious one, building-related illness, or BRI. This is when a doctor can actually diagnose an illness, sometimes a very serious one, like Legionnaire's disease, and trace it directly back to contaminants in the building's air. And those health issues, they translate directly into business costs. I mean, think it through. More people calling in sick with respiratory problems. Lower productivity, because people just don't feel good and can't focus. A dirty system has to work way harder, which means your energy bills go up. And all that extra strain causes your expensive equipment to wear out faster. It all adds up, and it can add up to a lot. So that's the problem. The question is, how do you fix it the right way? Well, the answer isn't just cleaning. It's about following a professional, proven, standardized approach. And that's where NADCA comes in. This is the organization you really need to know about. NADCA. It stands for the HVAC Inspection, Maintenance, and Restoration Association. Basically, these are the people who set the global gold standard for HVAC cleaning. They make sure the job gets done safely, effectively, and to a level of clean that you can actually verify. When you see NADCA standards, you know you're getting the real deal. And right at the heart of that standard is a key certification, the Air System Cleaning Specialist, or ASCS. An ASCS is a pro who has been certified by NADCA to manage these big commercial projects. Honestly, having an ASCS on your project is your #1 guarantee that a true expert is running the show from start to finish. And just so you know, this isn't some weekend course. The certification exam is incredibly tough. Yeah, a huge chunk is about the cleaning procedures themselves, but it goes so much deeper. You're talking about deep knowledge of mechanical systems, how to properly inspect them, understanding contamination, and, critically, all the health and safety protocols. It ensures they don't just know how to clean, but why it's needed and how to do it without putting anyone or anything at risk. The whole philosophy of professional cleaning, the entire guiding principle, boils down to just 2 words: source removal. That's it. It's not about spraying deodorizers or masking the problem. It's about the complete physical removal of every last bit of contamination from the system, period. So, source removal sounds good, right? But what does that actually look like in practice? Let's walk through how the professionals really get it done. A real NADCA-compliant project is a structured 4-step operation. It always kicks off with a detailed assessment to figure out exactly what they're up against. Next, and this is absolutely critical, is containment. They have to completely seal off the work area so none of that dust and debris gets into your office space. Then comes the main event, the source removal itself, using all sorts of specialized gear to break loose and suck out all the contaminants. And finally, and this is how you know you hired a pro, they do a verification to prove the job was done right, and the system is officially clean according to NADCA's standards. This right here is what real containment looks like. It's not just a bit of plastic sheeting. Professionals use these containment barriers and negative air pressure to create a totally sealed work zone. This is so important because it guarantees that the cleaning process itself doesn't end up polluting the very air you're trying to clean. And of course, safety is always priority number one. Any certified professional is going to follow strict OSHA standards, like this lockout/tagout procedure. What that means is they completely de-energize all the equipment and lock it down before they even start working. This protects their technicians, sure, but it also protects your very expensive equipment and your entire facility. So remember, source removal? This is how it happens. You can't just shove a shop vac hose in a vent and call it a day. The pros use specialized tools like these high-pressure air whips and powerful rotary brushes that literally scrub the inside of the ductwork. They physically knock all that caked-on gunk loose so it can be captured by massive, high-powered vacuum systems. And here's the payoff, the results. I mean, the difference is just night and day, isn't it? On the left, you've got a system that's just choked with years of buildup. And on the right, that exact same system restored to a clean, like new state. That is the tangible result of doing it the right way. Okay, so you see the need, you understand the professional process. That brings us to the final and maybe most important step, choosing the right partner to do the work.
And this really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you make sure you're hiring a true professional and not just, some guy with a truck and a vacuum cleaner?
Here is your essential checklist. You need to ask every single one of these 5 questions. Are they an active member of NADCA? Do they have a certified ASCS on staff who will manage your project? That one is an absolute must. It's non-negotiable. Do they promise to follow the NADCA standard for all their work? Can they show you proof of proper insurance? And finally, will they perform verification at the end to prove the system is clean? If you get a no on any of these, you need to keep looking. At the end of the day, the biggest thing to remember is this. Professional HVAC cleaning is not just another maintenance expense you have to deal with. It is a strategic investment, an investment in your building's health, an investment in your operational efficiency, and an investment in the health and productivity of every single person inside. So really, the only question left to ask is, can you afford not to make that investment?